In this portion of the exercise, we're going to add some annotations to our drawings. So first of all here, just like I was showing in the previous section here, you can grab these views and move them around. Now you'll notice that the orthographic views I can only move up and down, but if I click on the base view, the first view that I created, you'll notice that I can move that horizontally and vertically. And when I did that, of course, you notice that the orthographic views that were attached to that are also moving. Now let me zoom up on here. The first thing that I want to do is I would like to retrieve those dimensions that we added when we were sketching. A simple way to retrieve the sketch dimensions is right-click inside the view that you want to work with, and then from the menu, click on Retrieve Dimensions. Then inside the Retrieve Dimensions dialog box, we have a couple different ways to go back and get those dimensions. Do we want them based off a feature or an individual part? Now we would probably use that option if we were working off an assembly, but what I like to do here is simply click on the Select Dimensions option. Now I can go back, I can select these dimensions individually, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a window. And I'm going to make sure, going from left to right, that all of the dimensions that are placed inside that window will be retrieved. Go ahead and click on Apply. So you can see that those dimensions were retrieved. And I'll just pan down, and I'm going to do the same thing here. But since I'm already inside the command, I'm going to simply click inside that top view. And I'm going to repeat that process. Click on the Select Dimensions. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the crossing method. So from going from right to left, any dimension that touches or is included inside of that crossing window will be retrieved. Apply. And I'll repeat that one more time for the side view. Just do a window and go ahead and click on OK. Now Inventor went back and it retrieved all of the dimensions that were pertinent to that view. So if I zoom up here into our front view, you can see that I have a couple dimensions that I really don't need or are going to be better placed in other views. So I'm going to hold down the Control key and select that 19.5 and the 30 dimension and right click and delete from the menu. Another option that could be very helpful is moving dimensions from one view to the other view. Zoom in to the left hand side of the front view. I have my 50mm dimension here, so I'm going to right click over that. And then from the menu here, click on Move Dimension. Now all I need to do is select which view do I want that to be moved to. So I'll just simply click inside the top view, and you can see that the dimension here has been moved to that top view. Now again, I'm going to just double click on the wheel, do a zoom extents. Now, you can see that the dimensions are all over the place. Now what I could do again is I could simply start dragging these around individually, but there's a better way to do that. So what I'm going to start off by doing is I'm just going to do a crossing window, make sure all of the dimensions are selected. From the Annotate tab under the Dimension panel, click on Arrange. Now based on my current dimension style, all of the dimensions have been rearranged and spaced accordingly. So now let's do a little bit more cleanup here, so I'll just pan on down here. So again, if I grab this one dimension, you see as I grab the text, I have some options to move that around. If I go back and select on the arrow, the extension line of the arrow, you can see I can move that around. I'm also going to do the same thing with the radial dimension, so I don't want to have that inside the geometry, so I'll just select on the green dot, and I'll just drag that out. So next what I want to do is I want to add some more annotations here to the side view. So the first thing that I want to do for that hole is I want to place in a center mark. So from the Symbols panel, and of course that's from the Annotate tab, I'm going to click on the Center Mark command. And I'm just going to select on the circle that represents that hole. So what I want to do next is I want to add some dimensions here. So I started off retrieving the dimensions, which brought back the sketch dimensions that we worked off when we created the part. Another option is to just add dimensions into the drawing. So simply right click, and then from the marking menu, click on General Dimension. And just like we were working on a sketch, I can go back and start adding these dimensions here. And I'm not going to pay too much attention here to get these evenly spaced. So next what I want to do is rotate the radial dimension so it's not in the geometry. So again, I'll just click and drag on that green dot and move it outside the geometry. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to add a hole note that will fully define the hole that we're going to place in here for that CO2 cartridge. To do that, I'm going to go from the Featured Notes panel and click on Hole and Thread. And then simply come back in here. I'm going to select on the hole and locate where I want that hole note to go. And the hole note is associative to the original hole. And what that means is if the original hole changes, this hole note will change as well. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to make some additional annotation edits to the front view. So here I'm just going to pan and I'm going to zoom up here. Now again, I'm going to start off. I don't need two 8mm dimensions, so I'm going to go ahead and select that one. And here I'm just going to press delete on the keyboard. Now also, if I zoom up here, you'll notice that I have my 3mm diameter dimension. So I don't want that. I'm going to place that in with a hole note. And to clean this up, I'm also going to simply click and I'm going to drag and move the 17.5mm dimension so it's outside the geometry. And then lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional hole note. So again, from that Feature Notes panel, go ahead and click on Hole and Thread. And I'll pan on over. And I want to select the hole. And I'll locate that. So in the hole note, you can see that it correctly calls out the diameter, telling me that it is a through hole. However, it does not tell me the quantity. So I'm going to make that change very quickly here. So I'm just going to press the Escape key to cancel out of the Hole and Thread Note command. And then I'm just going to double click on the hole note. And I'm going to move my cursor where I want that note to go, which is already at the end of that text. I'm going to press the space bar on the keyboard to give me some space here. And then from the Value and Symbols area, I'm going to add the quantity note by clicking on the icon. Go ahead and click OK. So as you can see, the quantity has now been added. And again, this is linked to the hole. So if the number of holes would change, or the diameter, this will also update. So the last thing I want to do is I'm going to save this file. And then I'm going to close out of all the files that I have currently open.